Chapter 1. His Youth and Background. Claude Monet, whose full name was actually Oscar Claude Monet, born November 14, 1940, Paris, France, passed away December 5, 1926, Giverny. French painter who was the beginner, the leader, and the unbending supporter of the Impressionist painting and art style. As a matter of fact, in his more mature and completed works, Monet created and grew his technique of producing repetitive research studies of the exact same theme in series, switching between canvases with the light or sometimes as his fascination moved. Those series were often shown in groups. For instance, his pictures of haystacks, 1890 to 1891, and the Rouen Cathedral, 1894. At his house in Giverny, Monet developed the water lily pond that worked as motivation for his last series of paintings. His appeal skyrocketed in the second half of the 20th century, which is when his works literally took a trip around the world in museum exhibits that drew in record-breaking crowds of people and admirers, and marketed well-known business products, including the images from his original art. Youth and early works. At some point, when Claude, the oldest child of Adolphe Monet, a grocer, was 5 years of age, their family transferred to the Normandy coast, close to Le Havre, where his dad took control of the management of his family's growing ship chandlery and grocery firm. That event has more than biographical value, because it was Monet's youth, spent along the beaches, and the cherished knowledge he acquired from the sea and the quickly moving Norman weather, that would one day generate his fresh dream of nature. Monet's very first achievement as an artist came when he was 15 years of age, with the selling of some caricatures that were thoroughly observed and accurate. In those early years, he also performed pencil sketches of cruising ships, which were practically technical in their flawless descriptiveness. His auntie, Marie-Jeanne Lecadre, was an amateur painter, and maybe at her idea, Claude went to study the art and skill of drawing with a regional artist. However, his life as a painter didn't start till he was befriended by Eugene Boudin, who introduced a rather conceited student to the practice, then unusual, of painting in the open air. The experience made the direction for Monet, who for over 60 years would focus on noticeable phenomena and on the development of reliable techniques to change perception into pigment. Though oil landscapes had been painted at the very least since the 16th century, they typically were created in the studio, recollections instead of direct impressions, of observations of nature. The English painter John Constable and J. M. W. Turner made little oil sketches out of doors before 1810, but it is not likely that Monet knew these research studies. He initially went to Paris in 1859 to 1860, where he was impressed by the work of the Barbizon school painters Charles Dabigneux and Constant Troyon. To his family's irritation, he refused to enlist in the École des Beaux-Arts. Rather, he often visited the haunts of sophisticated artists and worked at the Académie Suisse, where he met Camille Pissarro.